Um, I will start the presentation. I wanted to give you, of course, talking about the post-processor just through the slides. It's, of course, not that interesting, but I want to explain you um, what are the essentials and that we developed recently and why we developed such a features. I think that will give you a little bit different view or overview where the SolidCAM goes and why we go in this direction. So definitely everything that we developed in the post-processors that I'm going to show you, of course, it is customer-driven and based on the features that we developed in the software, for sure. Everything new that we develop, like these clones and stuff, of course, we need to support in post. That's good. These are the features that we developed. That's OK. But we have also another two things that guide our new features that will be developed. And that's about something collaboration. We have many post-processor developers worldwide. Now, in SolidCAM, we know that customer is the king, so we are providing customized post-processor for each of the customers, sure. But I know that we have the final template, like 5 different templates around the globe. So why we don't use, all these people, and collaborate together to work on the same unique idea of the post? So many features that I'm going to show you connects. And we were not able to make this collaboration without the features that I'll show you now. First things, absolutely the clones. Clones allows you to create different variations of the same machines, but instead of creating 3 different VMIDs and then managing every individually, it helps you to do these all modifications within the single VMID interface and allow you to any change to perform in the one ID of the VMID to replicate it in other in one click. I remember many times it happens to me when I was dealing especially with the Swiss. In Swiss, I'm having like the guidebush and the guidebushless version of the post. And every time when I do some modifications in the MCO or I add a cycle or this or that, I always forgot to put it also in another guidebushless version. So it was a problem. So this is just one example, but there's hundreds of examples when the configurations are awesome to have. So this is what we develop. And this is an example of the host machines where you start with a 3-axis, but you can add multiple axes, different machine simulations, everything controlled within the one VMID. So this is about how flexible it will be. Very nice feature. Now, where we go with this? Today, it's the VMC file. We call it VMC. In the future, we will not have the VMID. We will call it just the VMC. And today, it's the VMC married to other VMID, basically. But the idea is that we will get rid of these VMIDs. It will be only one VMC file. Okay? That's where we will go with the SolidCAM. The next thing, this is what I said, like VMC, that is master to these 3 VMIDs allows you to modify all of these configurations there. All right. Any change that you perform inside the VMC, you have options to apply to all configurations or maybe to specific configuration, and you select it. It's awesome, yes? So modifying, adding, or removing is just nice and smooth. So doing something like this, I like to use the DN Solutions example because they have the same machines but with different configuration. CMZ, for example, Juan is here. You did an awesome job there with these configurations. I think you tested on the highest possible level with CMZ. We partnered with them also recently. So they have also a lot of configurations which make Juan life much easier to define them. There's the examples of, for example, the SD, the most recent star machine of 26. So they have kind of 4 different configurations, type C, type S, and type G and E. So different kinematics, but we want to do them everything within the single interface. Why? This is the same ID, right? So why should create multiple? So, and we done this machine. It's very nice. We have them. If you want to use it on the demonstration, just raise your hands, make a ticket, and we'll share it with you. When you can use it, I mentioned the guidebush and guidebushless. So within these configurations, it's very easy to do. Perfect. Another step, guys. I always have the problem. One of the reasons that my first slide that you've seen, global post-processor database. Many people ask, okay, why you don't have the global post-processor database? I'll tell you, like, because of this, we didn't have this. The problem was that, I will take the example from German database. German post-processor database and customer, it's our king. They will define the language inside that post, you know, that is German language. Of course, I will do that also in my country, the same thing. Now, the problem starts like, oh, I have a perfect Hermle post in Germany. Super. I take it, and in order to share with any of you reseller, I translate the post. So we have nice tool, we will translate it, super. But once I translate it, ID of this VM ID is changed. This is one ID, English, this is another ID, this is German language. If I do any modifications to this one, then this one, what will happen? It will stay the same. So these will be two different Hermle machines, and now who I can trust, which is more certified, this one or that one? So if we are making any modifications, I want the languages, that the posts are not language sensitive, but I want them to be the same ID to have multiple languages here. So that's what we have inside SolidCAM. We developed the languages, so if you have, the English will be mandatory, of course, but you can define multiple languages inside that will cover any of the UI names that you have, the drilling cycles, the submachine names, MCO cycles, parameters, drilling cycles. Everything will be translated. So you single click, you save and exit, you don't need to close the project or the software. You just see everything now is in English. Now you see it in German. It's the same ID. And now I can share it. If I get the post, you know, from the United States, translate it to German, I can give it to German. It's the same. If they modify something, I'm not scared to give it back to Eric. It's perfect, right? So this is from now where we can make the global post-processor database. So I mentioned all of these points. Perfect. This is how it looks, like English to French. We did this with the Tornos because they have a lot of also French customers. So you can see in parallel, you just with single click, you change it. Not only the machine options, but also the MCO options. All the parameters, everything inside what they see, very user-friendly for the customer, but also it's very nice for us developers, okay? Perfect. Yesterday I mentioned about this option. I love it. I love it. Adding different clearance into a machine. I don't want to mention too much. I think it's okay. Finally, I love this. Since I'm in SolidCAM, I wanted this feature. So it took me a while to get there and to be able to do this. So thank you, Ronen, and thank you, Sophie, if they are here. They allowed you to, within very simple drop-down menu, to decide how you would like to export your tools. By far, you know, if you want to get in some specific order, in specific criteria, you had to do everything in the array and then decide by some checkboxes what you want, actually how you want to export it. Today, you have just these options. The first one is how it is in previous versions and today. CAM tree order. If you are using these tools, it will come, that's it, based on the CAM tree order. The second option, this is where you will be at most with your all milling machines. You can just go and you can all change this. Of course, if you don't have any of the GPP file that you are already doing some in ascending order, you have this CAM tree in ascending order. Just click there and it will come. Everything what is in the CAM tree, sure, but we will, by the criteria, there's criteria about it. If it's the milling spindle, we take the tool number. If it's the linear station or the rotary station, is the station ID number, okay? Makes sense. And, oh, go back. Go back. I don't say the most important one for the Swiss type. All tools ascending order. For the Swiss type, very important to have this option. Even if you're not using some of the tools, if the holder is installed, if it has the tools or stuff, these machines are smart. They have machining data. In machining data, they have the holder properties. They will use different macros if the holder is installed to use different retracts if it's there. So if you export your G code without that holder, machine don't know that holder is still there, you will crash the machine directly. So we have this option, all tools in ascending order. All right. Oh. Another reason why we couldn't do global database. Units. Any parameter that we define in SolidCAM inside the VMID didn't have a unit. What it means, if I build a post in metric and I give it to my friend Eric, he had to change everything that is inside that was having the units, because what it means number 2. Is it 2 millimeters, or is it just 2 as an option, or 2 it's what it is? He don't know. So now you can just say, hey, this parameter, which if it's the numeric one, I want to be length sensitive, meaning that if you change the units from imperial to metric and vice versa, we will ensure and make sure that this is properly converted from CAM part to CAM part. So now, if I define the post, I'm not afraid to give it to Eric. No problem at all. I just give it to him and he can use the post there. Perfect. Another one, many people come very oftenly asking me, hey, I'm using this option in the SolidCAM settings, like automatic coordinate system creation. And if you're having Bumatech machine or crazy machine configurations with multiple tables, more than 2 tables, then you will get like Mac 3. Then like, why SolidCAM create 3 Macs? I just need 2 Macs. So how we can do that? So the current definition was based on the table, some coordinates and stuff, but it didn't work. We tried to make it automatic, but as we go along and see more and more complex machines, we realize that current definition is not what it will work. So we give you a very nice option in the VMID. You go here. If these are checked, this is the example of this machine and why we have the 3 Macs, but we don't need 3 Macs. We still need only 2. We have this nice option. You can control how many Macs you want to have it. And we will not use this only for milling and mill turn, but we will also implement this in milling. If you want to create automatically like Mac 1, Mac 2, regardless, here you are how you can do it. Based on your first master Mac, we will create this, we will use this matrix. You can use coordinate system of rotation, and you can say, do you want it on opposite side of the pod? We will expand this feature, based on your request, but this is now what it works very well, with the current definition for the Miltons and Swiss. And this is then the results. If you use 180, he will automatically create it there, works. And the most important, if you use the flexible coordinate system, another one will be flexible coordinate system as well. And he liked it. All right, improvements inside the MCO, finally. I spoke about this yesterday, that we now finally have the workpiece coordinate system implemented in MCO. It's more operator-friendly way to insert the data. Also, previous versions of the MCO only had input data based on the coordinate system or the Mac. We didn't care if it's upper turret or lower turret selected. We didn't really rotate the coordinate system. Workpiece coordinate system, take that into account. Based on the selected submachine, we will automatically rotate the coordinate system. Basically, this removes all redundant or dummy actions that we implemented in the cases of the cutoff and stuff. We always had to go with C0 or C180. This was not nice. So I always wanted to get rid of this. With this, we just use, and it works perfectly. So this is what we had to do for table reference point. Many times, even if you have the chuck jaw on the subspindle and you want to do a part transfer relative to the part location, it was always done with a workaround. We had to create a dummy table, create a dummy tool, make the work offset there, and then MCO worked fine. But I said, why? We have all the information. So we create table reference coordinate system, and this is the results, what will happen if you say, go inside the MCO and put 0 on Z2. It will align the subspindle with a part over here, and this is not what I want. What I want, we had to create like a dummy table, dummy tool, and workarounds in machine simulation, and this is not what I want. The option is to have the reference point shift, where I can shift automatically, and this is something we automatically do. We give you an option, do you want like fixture maximum or minimum? So this is very nice for, especially in the Swiss type. Automatically, we can calculate the collet, for example, and automatically output that in the code if the Swiss type machine requires. And we automatically load. So now if we put the Z0, it will be aligned with the pod. And this is the results that we want. So now you can get rid of it, all the dummy turrets or all the stuff that you had before. Now you have perfect solution. Another thing, why we don't have the global database, this one. Again, imperial metric stuff. Many times when you have the 3-axis output, you just want, for example, precision 3 or maybe 4. But if you go to the 5-axis output, maybe you want 5, 7, depends on the application and stuff, yes? But what is happening if you go from metric to imperial? Suddenly now, you need to change your VMID because you need higher precision there and higher for the inch. Yes? Usually 2 decimals, or it depends, yes? Now we separate it. We do 2 things. First, we separate it based on the units, but also we separated the regular 3-axis stuff with simultaneously 5-axis. So now you have complete options here to select what will be for the metric, what will be for the inch. You just change it, you just use it, G-code generate, calculate, you love it. I mentioned this is 2026, this is not in 2025, okay, so this is what is coming 2026. Oh, one small detail I mentioned here at the bottom. Does laser works? Laser doesn't work, or it works, but it's so small. So the existing get machine function, we have there get machine precision. We just add argument, movement 5-axis. Based on the unit selected in the COM part, it will give you what is the what's the format, and everything will be automatic. Cool. This is also something nice. The last PP training in Belgrade, you see, it was happening in May. People come back to me with the feedback, and we done it. So in the case when we want, or maybe already many of you are using the Git already for the version control stuff, but if you want to control what was changed inside the VMID, our VMID was single line definition XML. And what you always had to do, Notepad, convert it, or Visual Studio Code, convert it to be pretty print, we call it. Now you just have a checkbox. If you make it sure it's checkbox there, just save and exit. There you go, guys. It's there. You asked, we delivered. Clones, we talk about this, I showed you. I think I will not go too much about it. Now we have the work offsets and the work offset table. And yes, for all the attendees, also YouTubers who are watching this video and this streaming, the PP training that we done in May this year in Belgrade was it was the best that I know. I hope we'll continue having this tradition every second year to keep it and keep you updated and stuff. We had 120 attendees there, 12 presenters, 32 subjects done. Awesome. Thank you for all attending. I see many of you here. But you also have here a link towards where to watch, and I'm going to give you also the link to in the comments on the YouTube. You can see it. It will drop you directly to the forum where you can see all the pictures from this event, all the videos from this event, all the presentations, all the parts, everything is transparent, everybody can get it. Everyone who wants to learn it, you can learn it if just you have time. If you have a will, you can do it. Thank you for your attention.